Yo, 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 Flick, what's going on? How are you? Welcome back. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get a little bit of celebration here of some Thanksgiving. So today we're going to do turkey. A big giant turkey now. You do it for a second?
Yeah.
Alright, go ahead. You do it for a second. Go ahead.
It's not moving. Now you have to steer this way.
Alright guys, let's get started. Yo, Wicked Gaming, what's going on, man? How are you?
In a million years, I'd never thought you would use that turkey.
That turkey, yep, I gotta do it. It's almost Thanksgiving. Gotta celebrate it, you know? I don't know. Why did my window always bust every time I take it out of the garage?
Oh, Dad, did you tell him about the hat I saw?
Who, what?
The hat I saw at the store?
I have no idea.
It was turkey. It was Thanksgiving mixed with Christmas. It was a turkey like this, and it had a Christmas hat at the end of the wings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, then.
Oh, man. Alright, guys, let's go ahead and continue on here. So we're gonna grind a little bit, just get a little bit of cash here in the city of San Andreas. We got this stuff. Where's my volume at? Oh, my volume's on. Where's my volume? And the traffic just left with them. Alright, let's get going, guys. Now we're gonna go to the Grove Street gas station, which we need to be careful around there, guys. It gets pretty dangerous. This is a turning? Oh, turning's right there. I see it. Alright, we're almost there. This gas station does get popping a lot, guys, so let's be very cautious with that. Make sure my door is actually locked. Gather a couple supplies. It's being weird again? Really? Oh, you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is right now, Wicked, because when I'm at the house, I stream at a higher bit rate. That could be why. Like on mobile, I streamed at a lower bit rate, like 2 megs. But when I'm at the house, I do like 4 megs, almost 4.5, because I'm using the NVIDIA encoder. So I have to stream at a higher bit rate. If not, it looks like ooey. I could lower it though if it comes down to it. All right, hold on. I can't get out. Oh yeah, seatbelt. That's why. All right, let's go ahead and put some gas in the car. All right, guys. Against fueling the vehicle. I'm sorry, Wicked. Let me, I could try to do a few things, see if it helps. But for now, go ahead and just click the source button at the bottom of the screen, and then you're gonna want to choose the. What am I doing here? First of all, let's get some snacks, right? Potato chips is like my favorite. We're gonna get 5 of those. We're gonna get some drinks here, guys. All right, we're gonna get some iced teas.
Daddy, I'm surprised your character doesn't die in the game.
Why?
You know how much?
Huh?
Do you know how much salt I potato chip
What's that?
bags? Salt 5 potato bags that.
What's that?
Hot.
Yeah? Gotta put some money away in the bank.
Oh, don't.
Okay, go to the register. $100 for 5 chips and 5 teas. Sure, I'll buy it. Why not? Take my money. Take my money. Actually, I want to pay with a credit card because I don't want to get back to the car.
How is five potato chip bag?
$1 a piece, man.
That's a ripoff. Daddy.
Oh, Wicked Gaming, dude, that'd be awesome, bro. That would be so awesome.
Daddy.
Yeah, Wicked's gonna go to the store a little bit. It's gonna send cheers and subscribe to the channel.
This went like this.
It did with the eyes. What the?
Oh my god.
Oh man. Well, I forgot I had this other camera set up, so now I'm starting to do it. How do I fix my window in this game? I gotta really learn how to repair our car
Hey,
here,
Daddy.
guys. What?
Is there a shark one of that?
No. I don't think so. I can have somebody make me one though. I have to pay them like 50
Yes.
bucks.
Please make them make
Like 50 bucks or 100 bucks to pay somebody to make something like this. So they'll make a 3D model. It's this rep. Got you, buddy.
Oh, I wish there was more time.
Alright guys, so today we're gonna make the real money today. Let's go to head down to the lower docks. No, we're gonna be good. Is it still being weird? I was close by, but I don't see them. Oh my god, next light already? Really? Alright, so let me see if it actually works. Let me open up a different browser page. I'm gonna actually go in on my bot account. Give me a second here. Alright, so when the bot goes to my Twitch channel, what do we have? Give me a second here. Alright, we're gonna look for Tricks 2007. Do I have that source encoding? I don't know if I do or not. Alright, so we scroll down. Alright, so we hit the little setting cogwheel, hit the quality. Yeah, we got it. Wow, we have it. That's interesting. So right now I'm doing 720 at 60 FPS. That could be why you're lagging. So what you're gonna want to do is actually just click on 480 if you have to, if you're lagging. 480 will fix your problem. Go to the side real quick. Let's see here. Hold on. Alright, let me see what we have, guys. Bear with me. Oh, you think when you close your other apps? Yeah, sometimes they'll do it too. I wish they'll do picture-to-picture ads already. I gotta watch an ad on my own channel. How crazy is that? It's Nerf or nothing. Alright, so when you go here, you're gonna want to click the setting cogwheel. Quality. Okay, yeah, so sometimes if you got other things running Wicked, it does take up a lot of bandwidth. And actually today I just restarted my modem, so that I had to do something like that as well to help fix my little situation. But here, I'll go ahead and post the link in there to kind of show you guys what you got to do there. That way you can there is quality options, so you get to choose. You can change the quality of the stream to make it lag less. Alright. We are turkey. I'm gonna do a quick U-turn. Nobody's around me. Nope, we're good. Let's get going. Pretty soon I'm going to save us some money. We're going to get ourselves another car here, guys. Get us a house, maybe a business. We'll have to see. You know? Yeah, no problem, Steve. You know what you really need, bro? You need to get the those portable chargers where you plug it in via USB. Those are really good to have. I always keep, you should definitely keep one of those in handy.
Kid, I don't need a fool out
Right, that's okay. It's unlocked, it's locked. So the car turned off. Oh, the car turned off now. Yay. All right, let's go to get ourselves to work, guys. Let's make some quick bucks here.
I hit him so hard my knuckles were bleeding.
Okay, we need to spawn a truck. So we spawn a truck here, I believe, right?
What are you trying to prove?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
So right now, when we go to the map, we need to go for oil. I don't really think we need this back piece, to be honest. This was one of the higher paying jobs, which is really nice. I'm gonna make a U-turn here. How am I supposed to make that kind of turn? Are you crazy? I'm gonna have to make an illegal turn. And then get back in that lane. There we go. Now, first of all, let me hit this alleyway real quick. Go ahead and take that off. That way we could drive a little bit better here, guys. All right, let's get going. The speed limit's gonna be 50, right? We'll set it right there just to be safe. Wow, the stopping though. Holy mackerel. Okay, yeah, no problem, Wicked. I think you'll love it, dude. You'll definitely love it. Probably hit up the gas station before we get too far out, you know? Oh, the stopping is insane. Where's the gas station? Oh, it's right there. Make sure we lock up the truck, guys. All right, let's get going. Let's get around to the other side. Let's pump this bad boy up. Oh, why did I buy a jerry can? No. It's all good. It's in my inventory, I guess. We'll just... some gas. Yeah, so you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Joshua, what's going on with us? So what's up? What's up, Trix? What's up? How are you? Alright, so the jerry can is going to be in my inventory, which is nice. Alright, let's go ahead and head back inside real quick. Okay, we got some gas here, guys, which is perfect. car just totally went in front of me, right? That wasn't my fault, guys. You guys saw that. The NPCs do drive very weird in this game, though, don't they? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it big time. You have no idea. Oh, screw this. Oh man, I feel like 50's still pretty fast. Wait, is my comments messed up? Yo, let me refresh this. Yeah, my comments was really messed up. Nada just finished up playing Darksiders 3. Very nice. That's actually on Game Pass, I believe. I might play that on my xCloud. I like that a lot of the games are on xCloud now. Pretty cool. Yeah. How's it going over there on Mixer anyway? Mixer's doing all right. I know they don't have like the high concurrent viewership count and all that good shenanigans, but it is a pretty decent platform. Let's get moving, guys. So far, Legion's looking pretty good today. Once I get out of here, we'll be good. Oh gosh, oh, they're acting up now. Look at these NPCs. Oh man. I love it over there, non-toxic. No, I agree. I totally agree. It is very non-toxic. I have to agree with you on that one. Wicked Gaming, your stats are looking good, dude. Yeah, actually, believe it or not, Mixer's not bad. Like from my end, I feel like the platform itself is very nice. The community's nice. But honestly, I think people are just making that switch to Mixer because it follows. But you know, whenever you move to a platform, what I notice is that getting follows is not as hard because you're like the new guy, right? So like, but you're getting new eyeballs. I don't know. My only thing is that wow, look at this guy trying to cut me off. My only thing is I think I did much better when it was actually called Beam. I don't know if you remember Beam. Beam was like when I actually was on there, I was like a high level, I was VIP, I was getting follows. But Mixer's not bad. I like that Mixer's integrated with Xbox, which makes it very impressive. You know, and all that good stuff, you know. I'm glad my stats are going up. Yeah, they'll go up. They'll go up, Wicked. Just keep being active, bro. You got this. Don't worry. But yeah, but you know what though? You choose the platform that's best for you. You know, don't let somebody say, hey, this one's better, because really, one's not better for everybody. You know, it depends on the game you play. It depends on the content you create. It depends on what you're doing. You know, it can definitely fluctuate and be very different. Why is it making me make a U-turn? Seriously? Why would it do that? Why is it making me do this? It wants me to take the road. Wow. Alright, let's start heading back, guys. I remember Beam. Yeah, Beam was really cool. I liked it. It wasn't good for everybody though, because it wasn't Mixer. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Xbox yet. And now Mixer is Xbox pretty much. I agree with that. I get a small group of people, but I enjoy the mellowness of it. Yeah, no, I agree. And but you know what though? Here's the thing though. Even though right now it's a small group of people, it doesn't mean it's gonna stay like that. You know, Mixer is growing. Whether we like it or not, Mixer is actually improving. Okay. And I'm not talking about Ninja and Shroud being there, because in all honesty, it helps the platform, not the other streamers. All right, and if anything, it actually brings more competition. Okay, because these guys now are stealing the views. That's the way I look at it. But again, it's just everybody looks at it differently. But without making it sound like they're bad guys, because they're not really bad guys. I mean, they're good people. So what's happening is now that they're getting views, right? So they're bringing views from other areas to the platform, which can cause potential viewership. Okay, so if you're live and they Shroud or Ninja got off, you might get lucky enough to where they see you. So definitely make use of that hype zone that Mixer offers. You know, but again though, guys, the thing is though, it don't matter what platform you're on, you need to use social media. Social media is very important, and that's how you want to build your viewership. You don't want to rely on a platform, because platforms do not have good algorithms. They do not have a good discovery system. So definitely just get your social media booming, get used to the hashtags, learn what to post, make your posts very unique. Don't make them sound robotic and repetitive, and you should be fine. Yeah, I went to the casino yesterday, actually. Wait, was it? No, not yesterday, the day before. Yeah, the day before we went to the casino, guys. Especially with me having anxiety and not having to worry about, oh, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. You know, like today I'm doing the turkey on the camera. Sometimes I do my face on the camera, and sometimes I do my cartoon character of me on the camera. I switch it up. Guys, you need to move out the way. Oh! These guys are slow. All right, I'm gonna speed it up a little bit because this is getting crazy. If I get a ticket, I get a ticket. I don't even care anymore. I want to get my job done. I'll just pay the fine. Whatever the fine is. I think it's like 3,000 to 5,000, but hey, it's all good, right? Jeez, look at my gas, guys. Alright, so there's gonna be a gas pump right up here. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit up. This is the usual. This is the usual gas pump I catch anyway. Okay. Let's go ahead and refuel. Oh, we're done? Oh, shoot, we're loaded up, guys. Let's get it back in the car. Alright, we're looking good. Trix is awesome. Thank you, Wicked Gaming. I appreciate it. Yeah, but you're good, Joshua. Like I said, just do what you think is good, man. You know, do what you think is good. Wicked, I appreciate you hanging out, bro. I really do. I'm breaking signs. It's all good. He's gonna make a left. We're gonna make a left. We're almost at our destination here. Let's keep it up, guys. To the Mixer communities, yeah. The way, I mean, communities are good. So like, if you got like community groups or like little I think that's a player. Keep an eye on them, guys. I don't trust it. I'm gonna be live today for 2 hours. I got 2 more hours. I want a little bit more today than usual. Gotta lock the doors, guys. And make sure we check our surroundings out here because we don't know what's gonna be out here, guys. Thank you. Oh my god. Yay! Yeah, I'm gonna be on for a little bit. I know yesterday we played some Sea of Thieves on mobile, which was a pretty interesting experience. You love your GTA Online stuff? Yeah. Yeah, it's really good, bro. I'm actually, but what we're doing here is actually we're doing this right here. Let's go ahead and get you up on there, guys, so you kind of get an idea of what's going on. I don't even know if that works. Hey, what? Wait, what the heck is this? Oh, I see what they're doing. Guys, I didn't even post on social media that I went live, so let me actually do that now. Boom, 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 boom. See, look at that. I'm over here telling you guys how to do things. I'm not even doing it. Look at that. I'm such a hypocrite, right? I did about 80 minutes. Nice. Yeah, I always say 4 hours a day, 3 days a week is usually good. Don't overdo yourself. You don't want your streams to be bland. You want to keep it very energetic, very positive, and very creative. Pretty much entertainment, okay? Pretty much. So if you're not bringing entertainment to the table and you're just gaming, then you know, you might have your friends or maybe a few viewers here and there. But if you're really looking to grow, guys, you really got to put entertainment on the table or very unique content. All right, so. I gotta get back in here. I think I can't carry any more oil. I'm full. So let me go ahead and unlock my car real quick. I like this because I can go AFK while playing the game, which is cool. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put this over there. 23, right? Okay. Get back in the ring. Oh, I'm actually getting it while I'm right here? Oh, because I'm still in the ring. Oh, wow, I didn't know. I can stand right here. I don't have to be in the yellow circle. Alright, let me get back on here and make this post real quick. Alright, join us on some... I got the photo roleplay over at Wandering RP. Get this up and running. Okay, we're looking good, guys. We're looking good. Let's make this post real quick. Where is my GTA picture I had? Oh, right here. Okay, so we got that. Grand Theft Auto 5? Where is it at? Seriously? Oh, here it is. Okay, so are we full on oil yet? No, we are not full on oil yet. Roleplay is awesome. Thank you, Wicked Gaming. I see you just changed your name, bro. You figured it out? Because your name color looks different for me. That's level 72, not 272. I just leveled to 72. Oh, on the Mixer, right? Is that what you're saying? You're level 72 on Mixer? Yeah. Dude, honestly, I leveled up so much on Mixer until I hit like Have I played Red Dead Redemption 2 yet? No, I have not. I've heard it was very buggy, so I'm waiting. Once the bugs are gone, I'm gonna go ahead and do some Red Dead Redemption. I really, really do want to play. I just don't have the money right now. So once things are looking better for us, I'll definitely get it. If not, I really want to get into the roleplay too. The roleplay looks awesome. All right. Yep. Can you play it on Xbox One? Unfortunately not, Joshua. Unfortunately, you cannot. So what I'm doing here is actually I'm playing on a roleplay server, meaning there's a lot that I can do here. And the server is scripted, okay, for roleplay. So like right now I'm playing as a... Holy crap, that was loud. Imagine if I just sat over there with a sniper gun and shot every fuel man over here. Like, wow, you know how many people I'll get upset and mad? Oh yeah, look at you. Thank you. I really appreciate those guys. Really, I really do. No, on GTA, it's slash color and the color. Oh, okay. So you can still do that then. That's cool. I think you get different colors. I think like mine, for an example. Here, I'll do it in chat. This one, you actually have to be a turbo member, I think, for that color. Unless they changed it. I don't know. I've never changed it since 2015 or something like that. Alright guys, game is actually running surprisingly good today, no lag. Like you guys, it's probably running great for you too, which is perfect. I'm really excited about that. Okay, so we're almost full, guys. Things are looking good. They're looking good. Oh yeah. Why am I even wearing a hat? If I played with you, I would be a cop. Yeah, no, trust me. You can be anything you want. Just gotta sign up for it. You go online, you fill out an application, you join the police department, you go for an interview, you take it from there. You know, but usually it requires to be on a server a little bit before they put you in something like that. Usually, you want to make sure they put trustworthy people on the force. Okay, that's okay. I've been doing non-script RP on my invite-only sessions. Thank you, Jay. Wait, on Xbox? You guys are doing RP on Xbox? I didn't know that was really a thing. There's somebody out here in the woods. I don't trust this. I feel like we're being watched. What's up, Jay? This time I'm doing the job for real, bro. This is the best paying job, man. What up? But if I was a cop, I would let y'all get away with everything, right? But you don't want to get caught doing that, Wicked. You'll get fired. And not just fired. You would get fired! Yeah, I don't know how turkeys could scream. You already know, Jay. Right? You know it. So, guys, I've heard a rumor of The Mask #2 coming out. What do you guys think about it? Think it's going to be good? If you're happy and you know it, clap your feathers. Why does the oil thing sound so creepy on me, guys? Not much you. There you go. I would get caught, right? Yeah, that turkey can. You got it. You got it. You got it. Wicked said I won't get caught. Nope. Nope. Oh wait, guys, we gotta unlock the trunk, and then let's open up that inventory real quick. Trunk is closed. What? I locked it? Oh gosh. All right, lock it back up again. You know, Grand Theft Auto is actually a really scary game, guys. If you actually look around at night in this game, it can get scary. Make sure your supervisor ain't around. Yeah, well, you got a PC, Wicked. You know you can join us, right? You guys can join us. You guys are more than welcome to join us up on here. Absolutely. It'd be nice to have a lot of you guys on the server with me, you know? All right, here we go. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it up. Oh my God, gosh. Let's keep going. Let's keep doing this. I think we can win. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Oh my gosh. Just waving the neck. Don't mind me. It's a non-descriptive RP. My friends and I shoot ideas back and forth. Oh yeah, bro. Right. But buying my car broke me. Jay, don't remind me, bro. I had to buy me a car yesterday. Yeah, Jay, you need one. Trust me. It helps so much getting around. I still have yet to figure out how to fix our car. I think we have to actually get a kit. There is no fixing. You can't go to the mechanic and fix it. I don't know if you blow it up. I don't know if that fixes it or not. It might, but I know that would be considered non-roleplay, so I don't know. But I think we have to go spend $3,000 on a repair kit. Very well. What's going on, Mango? How are you, bro? Well, right? Oh my God, Mango Man! Oh man, wait, am I full? I think I'm full. No, we need one more, guys. Let's get this truck unlocked real quick. Let's go ahead and put this nice, wonderful little this in there, okay? Gathering all the oil we can, guys. We're gonna do Jay's favorite. There we go. Be right back. Okay, but buying my car, I know. But that sounds really good though, Joshua. I hope it works out for you. You been good, Mango? It's nice, dude. It's good to see you're doing great, man. Great to see you're doing good. I love how it's called leaf blower, and we're actually legit blowing leaves, right? We got this, guys. We got this. We're looking good, looking good. Oh man. Yesterday I was thinking of being a taco truck driver that sells drugs. You know what? It's actually a really big thing. A lot of people do that. I know, what was it? There was a server I played on, and legit, like that's what they were doing. They were pretending to sell tacos, but on low key, they were, you know, selling them good tacos. All right, guys, we almost got all of our we do actually got all of our products, so let's go ahead and get that opened up real quick. Let's head to the trunk real quick. Let's put 24 of these away. Man, how much can we actually carry? There we go. So right now we're just getting some oil, guys. Once we get this oil in, we got to go mix it, refine it, do all that good stuff. I've been good, facts. Right. That's great, Mangoes. I'm surprised you're still on here, bro. What's been going on? Have you gone somewhere else, or are you still here, or what's going on? The wacky tacos. Yeah, wacky tacos. Wacky, wacky, wacky. Why is everybody eating beef? I'm glad you guys don't eat turkey. That would really scare me right now. Yeah, that chicken job sucks. You can't even put anything in the truck. Oh gosh, I ain't doing it then. Nope. I'm sticking with this one, bro. This is like the best one so far. This one in trucking. I still got a couple other ones. I want to do this one legit. Like right now, my starting cash is 128. So we're gonna see how much we're actually making here. Hey, E-Turkey. No! Don't eat turkey. Nom 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 nom. Oh man. Bum 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 dum bum bum dum 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 dum. I think we're almost full. We're 18 out of 24. We're looking good, guys. We're looking good. Yeah, this job's not bad. It's very. I mean, you do go kind of far. It is what it is. We'll see if the money's worth it. You know, we'll see if it's worth it, guys. Right now we're 22 out of 24 there, guys. 23 out of 24. So we're full here again. So let's go ahead and unlock it. Open up our trunk here for a second. And then we're going to take 24 of those, put them over there. Wow, how much can we carry? Holy moly. I like that it remembers your last animation. That's perfect. All 3 locations are miles and miles away. The chicken job is worse than this one. Ouch. Yeah, so this one, here's what we do. So this one, I start from down here, right? One of these little bevels. We go to the locker. We spawn a truck. And we drive up here. Right around here is where we go get the oil. And then we go here next. This is where we refine the oil. And then we go down here to mix the oil. And then we deliver the gas. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad here. Actually, all right. I do need to get me a pistol though. I need a weapons license. I'm definitely gonna buy that, and I'm gonna get me a sidearm just so I can defend myself out here, Jay. Because right now, technically, roleplay wise, somebody comes up to me with a weapon, I can't do anything. It'll be considered non-fear RP. You have to roleplay it. So definitely, that's our main goal here, guys, is to get that weapon license. $5,000 to get one done. $5,000. $5,000. Oh my gosh. Is everybody excited for GTA 6 coming out though? Yeah, the chicken job, you start at the bottom of the map and you have to drive clear to the top of the map and then back to the bottom half of the map. Oh, okay. I see. Uh-huh. Very nice. I don't like it as very much. No, it's not very nice. What is going on? I don't even know. It's almost Christmas. 23 out of 25. All right. Cancel emote. Let's unlock the truck. No, I locked it. Okay, unlock it. Open it up. And then let's take the 24, put it over there. Holy moly, we're holding some gas here, guys. Wow. I'm done, guys. I'm done. I just lost everything. I lost my truck, lost everything. I'm just gonna log off. I'm not doing this again. Wow, man. Stupid internet. I'm so done with this internet. I swear to God, I'm so done. I literally did all this for nothing because I can't sit in the truck and do it. I'm gonna talk to these guys because that's ridiculous. My truck should have stayed a few seconds. It shouldn't have to spawn the way it did. Wow. That just heated me, guys. Like, I'm seriously heated right now. I don't like this, period. Wow. Well, let me write that as a suggestion. Hold on. Wow, guys. I had over 200 oils in my... I literally spent a half hour here and for nothing. It's all gone. Because that's just the way it is. I hate my internet. I'm hating this right now. I just completely lost my grind focus and I think I'm done. That's ridiculous. Like, I'm not doing this again. So now I need to figure out other means of making money. I'm just gonna rely on my regular paycheck in game because I'm not gonna keep disconnecting like this. It's uncalled for it. I'm not gonna do it. That, or I don't know if it's just my stupid modem and I gotta turn off Wi-Fi or what, because everything's hurting me right now. I can't even do what I need to do anymore. my gosh. Why, man? I know my truck is gone. But even if it wasn't there, like I don't understand how it just completely despawned. Like, bro, come on, man. I'd be happy just for the truck to be teleported here, really, but I'm too lazy now. Now I'm all the way out in the middle of nowhere. Wait, I hear a truck. Oh, that's a generator. Oh, I got happy. Wow. Yeah, I think I'm good, guys. Oh, that's enough GTA for me. Dang it, man. I gotta go. You want me to go all the way back south, grab a truck, and then risk my internet getting disconnected again? Like, I think there should have been like at least a few seconds, like 30 seconds, nothing too crazy, or even 60 seconds. Just allow the player to reconnect or something. I mean, I understand it could be exploited or whatnot, so I don't blame the why they don't do it, but man, but the truck should have still been there though. Like, Jay, even when you got disconnected, your truck stayed. But you just couldn't do your trucking job no more, so I guess it's kind of the same thing. Oh, man. Yeah, this really sucks, bro. I'm scared because my internet disconnected several times just now. Like, I don't know what the hell the problem is, if it's something in my neighborhood. But they're gonna hear a piece from me. Like, I haven't used my internet all freaking day. I get on now and I'm paying these guys all this freaking money for what? To get disconnected? No, not unacceptable. No, they're gonna fix this problem. And what sucks is that I don't have many options in my area. So then now I'm like stuck with these guys no matter what, because the other guys are not as good anyway. So it's like, what am I gonna do? Gosh, I'm probably better off just streaming on my phone again. I'm not doing this no more. I'm sick of paying for something that's not even worth paying. Like, it's a ripoff. It's a waste of money. Dang it, man. This is truly messed up, guys. I didn't do this yesterday. He's doing it today. I can't do this. Like, I literally, I give up. I swear to God, I give up. I don't understand what the problem is here, man. Why? Like, why are you guys doing this to me? Let me check my bitrate. Let me lower it, I guess. Maybe that help. Oh no. We'll just put it here. I don't want to put it too high because it acts derpity derp when it's too high. And then over here. I'm gonna remove this. Let's test it again. See what happens, guys. Yeah, I feel you. I'm sorry, guys. Look, now all my applications ain't even running right because everything disconnected. Hold on, I gotta reconnect everything again. Yeah, I know. And you know what, though? The sad thing is that's pretty common. Usually you always got two choices. Third choice is usually coming into the different areas, but I don't know anywhere. Let me run a speed test. I mean, I know I'm live, but let me see what's going on here. If I'm being throttled by my carry, I swear to God, I'm gonna hurt these guys. Thing is fine. Download. I don't know if that's right or not because I am live, so I won't count it. But yeah, no, satellite. You don't want that, bro. You want to stay away from that as much as possible. Absolutely. Man, this killed my vibe, man. I swear to God, guys, it killed it. Like, I don't even want to go back now. That's how lazy I am. Like, in all reality, if I talk to hardcore RPers right now, they're gonna say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be role playing just for jobs and make cash and blah blah." But it's not even the fact of what it is. It's like, okay, first of all, I'm on here. I'm playing as a citizen. Okay, I want to do a job, yeah, because I'm new to the server. I need some cash. I need to get a car. I need to get a house. You know, I'll start, you know, getting some things rolling in like I normally do. But right now, I'm trying to get situated. And how am I going to do that when it's always something happening? And this typically happens only on 5M. Because I know when I was on Rage, if you get disconnected, you can still do your thing. But that was pretty cool, you know. But again, Rage doesn't have NPCs and stuff. So I guess, I don't know, I guess too good. I don't know. Maybe it won't do it anymore, I guess, right? What do you guys think? Nah, it's still gonna do it. I'm just gonna shut my internet off. Like, honestly, I'm gonna call and just turn it off. What do I need it for? My cell phone does just as good. Like, I don't need you guys. What's up, Joshua? Yeah, I'm upset right now, honestly. I'm trying not to be upset, but I am upset. I'm not even gonna hide it from you guys. I'm really ticked off. Like, this is really annoying, you know? I was having a good time. I was all positive energy. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, this just kind of popped in. You feel me? Like, no, don't do that, man. Let me get this chat over here so I can see you guys better. Now I'm gonna have to non-roleplay steal an NPC's car because I'll be damn, I'm gonna be walking back. You crazy and out of your mind. Probably there's no taxis online. Yeah, of course not. So you're out of your mind. I'm not doing that. I don't care. Don't take my advice, guys. But alright, let's see, suggestions. Alright, so hopefully this gets a little fixed up. If not, it's gonna suck. Make it where job vehicles do not spawn when disconnecting. Add a timer to give the player a chance, right? That's what we want. That's what we're gonna do, guys. So at least give the player a chance to reconnect, okay? And I'm not saying a long thingy, but like, God forbid, let's say I'm in a role play. I jump out of the car right now with the cop and he's role playing with me and my car despawns. What the hell am I gonna do? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, little things like that. So there should be like a grace time period or something, because that can affect a lot of things rather than just a job. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Honestly, I don't know. I just gotten very lazy just now. Yeah, man. Oh, sitting here. It's already 8:30. I ain't got time. I'm just gonna go back to the city. Just call it quits, guys. I'm done. I'm done for the day. GTA just killed it for me. We'll do it in again another day. Another day would be better. I'm gonna call my internet company. I'm gonna yell at these guys. And then we'll try this another day. Because today is obviously not a good day to do this right now. Thank God I was not in a roleplay scene, guys. And I put all that money into pumping gas in my truck for nothing because it just despawns anyway. Alright, where's an NPC at? Come here. Or one of the citizens here at San Andreas. Of course there's none because I'm on freaking desert. I hear them, but I don't see them. We gotta go out to the main road. Let me just go this way. This is the highway. Oh, this one doesn't matter. Like, they would be out here. I think. I really wanted to do this filling job and like legit see all the money, like, but I couldn't. I couldn't see it, guys. Not today. We're not able to see it today. Come on, just give me a car already. Where are you running to? Come here. I'm gonna take out my anger on you. Is what I'm gonna do. This thing is too fast. I was gonna punch it, but now I'm too lazy to go chase it. Come on! Oh my God! Can somebody come up here? Is that one? Of course not. Well, why would they, right? That's a woman. She ain't gonna get out.
What frozen hell was that?
Yeah. Ladies always never do. I don't know why. It's always, that's like a thing in 5M.
What the hell was that?
You know exactly what it was. Now move on. I've never seen so many ladies in my life. Well, here's a guy. Maybe he'll fight me. Good.
Son of a bitch! You messing with a tough hombre!
Hey, you can't climb, can you, buddy? Thank you. I'll take that. In my car? Where did my car go? I hope it didn't get impounded. I'll be it probably went to the latest garage. It probably went. Oh my God. Let's go this way. Am I streaming offline again? Probably did. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go ahead and build that positive energy back. I just don't have the time now. I'll just mobile stream later. I'm doing better on mobile streaming now. Too bad I can't play this on xCloud. That'd be nice. But the problem is there's no Windows 10 or Xbox version to do all these. Anyway, I don't really play the original GTA that much. I hope there's no crosshairs in this game. If they got crosshairs, I'm done. Crosshairs is too easy for shooting. They have to really make use of the iron sights. Put my seatbelt on before I hurt myself. Of course, there's no way onto the highway. Why would there be? Thank you. Now the game wants to run fine. Ooh, what the hell are you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, more than likely our car is back at the garage anyway. Since we disconnected. I'm not 100% sure.
Get Jaffa.
Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Alright, so let me guess, it's here now? Of course it is, see? I knew it. So everything that spawns when you log out. Okay. That's kind of a good thing, I guess, so to speak. I don't want to do that again. I really don't. 8:30, 9:30. I don't have the time, man. I'll do it one more time, guys. I disconnect. I swear to God, I'll rage quit. I will freaking rage quit. Howdy, what's going on? How are you there, Marla? All right, so let's try it again and cross our fingers and hope that we don't get disconnected. All right, here we go. Come on. Come on. I just want to see how much we actually get, and then I'm happy. Yeah, so I was doing the field trucker job and I got stranded all the way out while grabbing oil. But you know what? It wasn't the server though. It was my end. It was my internet. So I gotta take it up with my internet company and see what the heck is going on with these guys. My internet company's pooey. But my truck despawned. Like, so what happened was I disconnected. Right? I disconnected and after disconnecting, I reconnected in a matter of like maybe 15-20 seconds. But my truck disappeared, so I had like 200 oils in the trunk. All gone. Yeah, I'm trying them out, yeah. I did trucking, I did fisherman. And I'm doing this one. So what I'm doing is I'm calculating the total payout. And then I'm just kind of seeing what they're all like, you know.
They be in my nightmare.
Oh, wow, my truck despawned, but that stayed. Okay. Wow. Oh, since you did whitelisted work, I gotcha. Yeah, fishing didn't really seem worthwhile. But I do agree with you. I've been on other servers where fishing was always the top thing to do. But it's actually good that it's not. Honestly, I mean, because fishing, people just kind of went out and about in the open sea, and I like that you guys have it in certain areas rather than anywhere you want. That's really good. Thank you for the follow there, guys. Hi. Oh, oof. Yeah, it was bad. Honestly, I don't have the time right now. If I get a ticket, I get a ticket. I'll just roleplay the ticket. That's all good. Just I won't go over the speed limit too much. Because right now, guys, I'm on a time limit. I gotta get off here soon. You've been doing the EMS. EMS is good. Oh, things are different now. Yeah. No, I agree. Usually I'll do like a whitelisted faction, and once you do that, you get paid anyway, so you don't really do jobs, you know. So, or you'll make a second account or whatever. But you know, I'm trying the beginning stuff, like when you join the server, what do players do in the beginning? I'm seeing how they are. I got a notebook here with suggestions and ideas and bugs and stuff, so it should be okay. Yeah, definitely. I remember that bus right there. I actually had a bus mod for San Andreas that actually looked just like that, guys. All right. Let me get positive again. I know I got a little upset earlier. I do apologize, guys, for being so negative. But then again, I know a lot of people watch negative streamers anyway, so I guess it's all right? But we'll be okay. Let's get back into rhythm here. My truck doesn't have the best feel, but we're gonna try again. So far, my internet's working fine. I disabled my 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, whatever Wi-Fi. So, and I'm running Ethernet, so I don't know what the problem is here. So hopefully it runs okay. Wait, why is it making me go this way? Why do I gotta take the road? Sorry, guy, I gotta cut you off here. And the good thing about doing all this too, like if I ever do become a cop, at least I'll know the routes people take. Well, it's always good. Man, I remember San Andreas, guys. Being a trucker, you had to watch yourself. People come out and try to rob you while you're in a truck. They'll be like hanging out the windows with their guns out like, no! Whoa! Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Honestly, you can, well, the stream probably left now. They probably thought I went offline because my stream kept reconnecting, but usually I do police. That's usually what I do. I've done medic a couple times, but the police thing is usually what I favor the most. I didn't get it back. I had to go grab it again. Yeah. But like, usually I do the LSPD. Even on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I used to be the chief of police. I used to, you know, do all the cool stuff. It's a lot different in GTA 5, so, and what was it? On Next Generation Roleplay, I was a cop. A lot of roleplay servers on San Andreas, and then on here, there was a couple roleplay servers on GTA 5 that I was an officer. Most of them pretty much follow the LA, Los Angeles, like, police stuff, so it was all identical pretty much. Sometimes the codes were a bit different, but it's pretty cool. But EMSs are very important. How many EMS are on right now? None. Wait. None. Yeah, I noticed that, like, there's barely any on sometimes. Alright, let me get a little bit of gas on a run out. Don't you cut me. My seatbelt's on. I keep forgetting about that. In the morning, there's wolves that's around. Ah, gotcha. Okay. I'm gonna try the job one more time, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna fill up the truck all the way. Oh, we were so close. All right, let me pump that up and see what's going on. So it's mostly just just two main EMS? Ouch. All right, so you guys need some medical help. All right, so if it came down to it, I don't get accepted for the police force or whatever, I'll definitely might consider that EMS thingy. Why is my car on fire? Oh God, don't tell me something else is about to happen to my truck. Oh, don't do this now. Come on. I didn't crash that much. These headphones are hurting my ears. Why? Ouch. I hope it doesn't mean my truck's gonna blow up. Put gas in. My fluid is yellow, my oil. What am I supposed to do about oil? Oh man, I got another problem. Oh dear gosh. So that means every time I do trucking now, I gotta call a mechanic and put gas in my truck? Oh man, you know what? I'm legit. You know what I'm going to do? Legit. Okay, so how does the items work on this server? Do you have to store your car to save your items? I think I'm just gonna put my oil in my trunk of my car. Is there a mechanic on? There is one. Oh man. Oh well, I'm gonna try. If not, you know what? Hold up, timeout. You know what? Screw this. Where am I at on the map? Or fix a kit. I'll have to give me a fix a kit. How far am I? I'm already up here. Dang, I hate that we can't just take out our car at any garage. We can only take it out. I'm just gonna use my personal car for this. I'm gonna try to stick it out with this for now, but next time I'm gonna use my personal cars for jobs, guys. I'm not even gonna use the trucks anymore. The trucks ain't worth it. They're too slow. Their storage capacity is the only thing that makes it worthwhile, but that is it. Well, I guess the realism driving is good. I was going a little fast, not gonna lie. I don't usually drive like this, guys. I'm just having a tough time at the moment. Yeah. Okay, so future reference, if this happens, just call a mechanic. They'll come, they'll fix the problem. That's good. And then the vehicle repair kit, whatever thingy is over at the, you get it at the store. But man, that's $3,000. $3,000. I wish we could stay in the truck. I hate that I lost my truck because I had to stay out of the truck to collect things. It's stupid. You have to be on foot. See, this is where it gets me, because now if I disconnect, I'm gonna lose my truck. Oh man, I gotta do all this. The kits from mechanics, cool. Yeah, 3,000 at the store. That's cool. Well, I'll have to call the mechanic one day, see how much they cost. Or actually, hold on, let me see something here. No, not that. Mechanics are actually in your phone book, right? Yeah. Does this actually work? I'm gonna be here anyway for a while. Why not? Okay. Where am I at anyway? Okay, hold on. Before I make this call, let's take a look at the map. Right now we're out in Grand Sonora Desert, near Route 68. Okay. Mechanic. Oh, wait a minute. Does a mechanic can you pay with a credit card, or you can only pay with cash? Well, I guarantee it's gonna be cash. Oh, they bill me. Sweet. Wait a minute. Okay, so in the messages. Wait, what? How do I send them? Alright, send GPS. Okay, yeah, so that I remember. I remember that from being in the police before. Hopefully they respond to that. Okay, so we're full on oil there, guys. This vehicle does not belong to you. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me, yo. Oh, I was about to say. Okay. Get to the trunk spot. I'm having bad luck, guys, with everything. I'm just so screwed at the moment. So that's cool they billed me. Okay, cool, because I was wondering, because I was like, I don't have the cash on me. I would have had more cash if the server didn't disconnect. Or I didn't disconnect, actually. Oh, man. All right, let's see what else we got going on here, guys. So right now we're collecting some more of these, which no, we're not. Why am I not collecting anything? What the heck? Wow, I never put it in the trunk. Yeah, I did put it in the trunk. Why am I not collecting oil? Nothing happened. I'm out of luck, guys. Oh well. Alright, we're getting more oil, which is good. Did I clock in? Yeah, I clocked in. Yeah. See, it's weird because... Oh, no, yeah. So I had to go all the way back and clock in and then go all the way back and grab a truck again. So I hope I don't lose anything. Last time I had about 200 oil in a chunk and then I crashed. I mean, things happen. It's just at the spur of the moment I was really upset. You know. It's okay, though. We're in it for the glory, right? We're in it for the enjoyment. Woo! Oh, am I lagging? When I'm in game, it looks like my... Is it running pretty good now? Why was it lagging just now? Thank you for that, guys. I really appreciate it. All right, this is actually doing too much to me right now. So let me actually close this out. And I'm actually just gonna go ahead and use the cartoon character maybe because we were lagging just hardcore just now. Yeah, we were taking up way too much resources on that. Alright, 2 more, guys. 2 more and we're good. Actually, you know what? Let me just go ahead. I'm burning. Oh, let me put the AC in. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started in here. Alright, things are good, things are good, things are good. Alright, so let's... Oh, that's no wonder these headphones are hurting me. Look, the way they're fitting. Why are they fitting like that? Oh, shoot, it's cracked. No! Oh no, guys, I think it's time for new headphones. Oh, shoot, it cracked. Right here. I've had these headphones for a long time. Oh, it looks repairable though. Let me see. It cracked right where the screw goes in, so it's not going to hold in place. No wonder my right ear is hurting. Alright, so for now, I can just put it more... I can just Keep the right ear strict and then just put the left ear loose, right? That might help. I don't know if that's gonna help or not, guys, but that's why it's doing what it's doing. Okay, now I know why my ear is hurting. That makes sense. All right, so we just locked it. Let's go ahead and unlock it real quick. Let's go ahead and put 24 of these over here to the side. Okay, let's keep collecting the oil. Bear with me here, guys. That is looking all crazy. Well, it doesn't really match. It doesn't really fit in with... Well, I mean, it kind of does, right? Because we're red and black. Yeah, who cares? Oh, well. We're not disconnected, right? You guys are still here with me? I feel so bad, man. I wish I wouldn't have gotten the disconnects like I did, guys. It ruined everything. It ruined everything. But I hope we're okay now, which I think we will be. Why is this game being weird? It's being weird. Okay. All I need is just a little bit of money, guys. And I really want to get a business. I got to see how we're going to go about with that. I looked at some of them. It looks like you need to put a certain percent down and then be certified. Is there a bunch of popo right now? Yeah. There's 3 plus. 3 plus, yep. Yep. All right. Let's keep it up. Yeah, no mechanic ever responded, guys. So the mechanic system is probably out of the question. So let me double check. I never received anything. Nope, they never replied. Oh well. Right, let's put more stuff in the trunk. So we know now it's not a really good thing. So we have to think of an alternative, guys, just to be safe. Am I lagging again? Why do I feel like I'm lagging? I'm dropping a few FPS here and there. Why? What the heck is going on here? My settings ain't even that high. Wait, what? What the heck are you talking about? No. My VRAM, I'm only using 3,000 out of 11,000, so I'm fine. I turn VSync on. Maybe VSync on will help the lag, guys. So let me go ahead and apply that. Don't be. This might help the stream because I think if I don't have this on, it likes to be weird. I don't like VSync, but I'll have to turn it on for the sake of the stream. Can't figure out why your car color didn't change. Really? Yeah, I don't know, bro. I didn't like that. I don't even like my color car. I'm gonna go back and redo it again. It could just be the type of car, you know. Alright, so it took me 3 hours to do this job, and I haven't got paid yet, guys, so we'll see what happens. Alright, let's do it. Why is your hand stuck?
What is this stupid thing?
Whoa. You're getting close to my equipment. Be careful.
Yeah, and your equipment's gonna be like this.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I can use that ladder, climb up top. Yeah, I need to get a weapon license, guys. I don't like this. I don't like being unarmed. Jay, did we find out what the legal weapons were? Did you find a thing on Discord for it or no? Because they do everything on Discord, so we're gonna have to look on Discord and see if see what's going on. You know, I'm gonna go in my car for a second before it despawns. Let's hop out. Am I collecting oil again? I don't know if I am or not. Oh yeah, I am. Good. Sweet. It remembers. It's still running. Wait, can I be on the passenger side and do it? What the hell is my guy doing? Well, I'm collecting it, right? Okay, good. I'm collecting it. All right, this is how you do it, guys. You don't lose your truck. You didn't see anything about what's legal or illegal? There's got to be something, bro. There's no way a roleplay server doesn't have what's legal or not. Maybe at the gun shop you can only buy what's legal anyway, so that might be why. So we're gonna find out. Because if it's legal to have an AR assault rifle, then there's a problem. One, that'd be unfair for the cops. Two, that... Well, I guess going about getting a weapon, though, I guess is a bit more tedious and expensive, so maybe people are more careful about it. So I guess that could be why. Yeah, that's a major problem. Yeah, I don't see them doing that, though. Look, my character's trying to switch seats, guys. Now I'm gonna say in here, can I access the trunk here? That's the only thing I can't do is the trunk. Okay, but everything else we can. Oh, the pistol and shotgun. Okay, so your normal legal weapons. Bum 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 bum. At least I have to check the spawns. I don't care. I want to keep the product. I want to keep the product in my trunk bed, so I can take it back and still clock in and sell it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, hunting license will be nice. It might even be worth money. I wonder if you like have to sell the animal fur or something, right? What do you think? All right, let's see. You think you do? Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll have to check it out. Like I said, guys, we got a few ideas and suggestions written out here, so we've been working. Look at the camera angle. All right, we're almost done there. Actually, I do need to eat something. Hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's going to make me want to eat more than one. Hold on, one. Okay, now let's back it out. The character's twerking. Yes, he is. He is definitely twerking. The things we got to do to keep our cars, guys. We ain't getting no mechanic to come out here. That's sad. What's up, Star Stud? How are you, bro? How are you, man? I think we're full. Yes, we are full, so let's hop out. That's great. I'm glad to hear you're doing great, man. How was your Fortnite? All right, so let's hop in the trunk real quick. Let's go ahead and take 24 of these bad boys. Switch them on over. Okay. And keep collecting more, guys. Oh, you've been playing the new COD. Yeah, I haven't been on as much. When it first came out, I played it nonstop. And then I play it periodically, just not so much on stream. It's not really like a highly requested game for streaming. The viewers haven't really asked much for it, but I do play it on my off-stream time quite frequently. You know, I think everybody just hates the game at the moment. You get the N-word too much? Yeah, you have to mute. Bro, you got to mute the party chat or only accept your chat from your party. You can't do game chat, bro. No, you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get YouTube giving you a big fine, especially if you say it's for kids, and then you're gonna have Twitch saying the N-word is one of the profanity words that is definitely not legal. It's considered racism, and that's a big problem. Bum 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 bum. Bum ba bum ba bum 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 ba bum ba bum bum bum. 21 out of 24. I don't mind it. I just want them to finish updating it. I know, me too. I mean, they added some maps. They changed some guns. I don't know, bro. The crossplay is awesome. I love that. I just feel like, you know, 1, footsteps. 2, give us Dead Silent as a perk, not a damn field ops. And 3, just... what is with your maps? Like, when a developer gets on a camera and says that, well, we made these maps to provide safe space for new players, but still keep the map competitive or whatever, whatnot. Okay, so you provided safe space with loud footsteps. What are we supposed to do here? And the spawns are just ridiculous, yeah. But spawns has always been trash, though. Spawns have always been trash on COD. You know, let's be honest here. I don't think that's something that's never going to be fixed, because it's a fast-paced game. Not even enemy footsteps. Right. Yeah, bro, your own team, like, that's too much. The enemy footsteps ain't even that loud. It's your own team. Like, what the heck? Yeah, but I hear the footsteps really good with the headphones, thankfully. It does get annoying, though. It really does. But what we gonna do, right? Jay, we might have to do jobs together, bro, in case we lose something. How are we looking on gas? 95? 95, 250. Man, time flies, man. The last day you played, you got killed by a bomb inside of a building, which is super annoying. Yeah. So what I noticed about Call of Duty Modern Warfare is that if you are in a building, stay away from windows and open doors, because you will get killed. You could still get bombed, especially like cluster bombs. Those things can really get you. He's doing good. Doing well. All right, we got a little bit more, guys. So, but those that are coming in probably wondering what the heck is Trix even doing right now. We're actually, I'm doing the fueling job here for GTA 5, and I'm just collecting oil right now, guys. I'm at the oil rig collecting oil. Don't mind what my character's doing. He's just being weird. Yeah, that was what annoyed you, right? I was in the middle of a building far away from windows and doors. Ouch. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That is crazy. Man, Sea of Thieves kicked my butt last night, Jay. Oh my god, I can't do that long again, bro. No. That killed me. Alright, I literally ruined my entire day. Okay, we're almost done here, guys. We got a lot of oil going on. It was fun. Yeah, I do agree. It was very fun. Have you played any RP GTA? That's what I'm doing right now, Starstud. I'm actually playing on a server called WRP, which is a Wondering Roleplay. That's what we're on right now. I'm doing the fueler job. I played RP before in GTA 5. I've had a really good run, a really good time. And then, I don't know, I just felt like... And then I just took a little break, you know? I was like, I got kind of role-played out. And now I'm getting back into it. And believe it or not, people like it, bro. I looked at my YouTube, and the view counts are insane. Like, people watch this stuff. Like, it's crazy. So, we'll be doing some GTA roleplay. You know, I don't think so much for live streaming. It's not as great, but for YouTube, it's awesome. It definitely generates eyeballs. Because honestly, sometimes total live views and highlighted views are not really good numbers to really base it on. YouTube is good because like it's there, it's archived, and people actually go on YouTube to watch videos. So like, if it's getting clicked on, that means there's something good about it. All right, what else do we have? Do you play Sarsted? I know you got a PC, bro. Have you played GTA Roleplay or no? You never played any RP. It takes practice, bro. It looks funny. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's cool because here's the thing. So on Roleplay, you got this big open world, right? You got the city here. You get a job, you buy cars, you buy houses, you buy businesses, you meet real players, you don't get pulled over by the cops, police, you get hurt, you gotta wait for the paramedics to come get you. Like, it just really makes the online experience much better than what Rockstar does. I don't know what Rockstar does. All they want to do is spam your phone in game saying, buy this, buy that, gamble here at the casino, pick out your credit card, and you'll get this, this, and that. Ooh, I think we're almost at the max here, guys. So hold on, what do we got here? How much can I put oil-wise? Oh, snap. So it looks like only 200 oil can go in there. Yep, 200 oil. All right, so then let's collect more we can, and then we're out of here, guys. My truck is smoking. We got 3 more to get, and we're gone. Running gun, right? Yeah, well, you got to get a gun, bro. You got to go pay a $5,000 weapon license fee. Then you got to go buy the weapon. Then you got to buy the ammo. You know, and then you have to talk to the players. Like, you actually have to roleplay the situation. You can't just, you know, just shoot them on sight because that's considered deathmatching. All right, so now that we did this, the next spot we need to do is this one right here. This one was the refine the oil. So let's go ahead and head on and do that. Alright, let's get our seatbelt on too, guys. Make sure we're safe here. Okay, so I'm driving crazy, don't mind me. I just hope our truck doesn't despawn, guys, but so far things are running pretty good. Yeah, so jobs are not good, guys, if we're having internet issues. So that's one thing to bear in mind. They should put that in, like, in the fine print, like right at the bottom. I could buy a repair kit, but I'm not even going to worry about it. I think we're going to be good. Yeah, I think we should be okay. I don't want to spend $3,000 on a repair kit. Can't call the mechanic because they're not replying. I don't want to spend that and then the truck despawns and I'm out of luck. Just pass the truck up.
Fuck, dude.
Hey, don't be cussing at me. It's like, dude. Yeah, there's a gun shop right over there. Yeah, man. Weapon license. And then you gotta buy the weapon. And then if you get in trouble and pulled over by the cops, you lose your weapon license, and then you lose your weapon. So that's more money you got to spend. And making money on here is not like GTA Online. Not at all. Very, very different. Stay in your lane there, buddy. Alright. Alright, so we're going this way now. Yeah, you wouldn't want to lose your weapon, right? It's okay. It's okay, Star Stud. It happens. If you die, you lose your weapon. You get arrested, you lose your weapon. I think you keep your weapons if the paramedics get you. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like there's not enough paramedics on the server. We need some paramedics, guys. Paramedics are really nice because they can come and help you, revive you, and make you keep your stuff, you know? Yeah. Oh, wait, right now we got a paramedic online. What do you know? Look at that. J13's on here too. Jay, I didn't know you were here, bro. We got 16 players online right now, guys, which is nice. Oh! Totally just missed my turn. Oh, sorry. There's a garage here too. That's cool. Oh gosh, not this. Look at this little tight space. Oh! You just got online. I gotcha. I'm not stalking you, Jay. Don't worry. I'm not that weird. I'm not that much of a creep. Jay's like, yeah, right, Trex. Yeah, I can't do CFTs on mobile, bro. I wanted to, but man, I was kept disconnecting so bad. We gotta be on foot, really? Alright, I gotta jump out of the circle and jump right back in, guys. Let's go. Alright, so let's go ahead and sit on this side. I wish there was like a back door to sit in, like closer to the trunk. I can't access the trunk while I'm in here. Alright, so right now we're taking the oil and we're turning it into, or petrol, my bad, into refined oil. So once we get that worked around, guys, we're gonna be good. Alright, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's keep it up. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I'm not gonna ask what my character is doing. What are you doing? Alright, so right now 12 out of 24, 6 out of 24. Okay. I feel it. I'll just grab 24 at a time, guys. So let's actually, we'll have to get that ready. So for here, I'm just going to type 24. That way, that's all ready. I like that I remember, so that's good. You do have to eat and drink beverages and snacks and stuff, guys, to stay alive, because you do have a hunger and thirst system here on Roleplay. We do carry a jerry can because sometimes we need gas for our truck. Empty bottles, don't ask. Me and Jay, we like to go around garbage picking, and we sell those bottles to make extra cash. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Still got some... I think we just... Yeah, we did them all. Alright, so right now we're going to access our truck, or trunk, I mean, my bad. I'm going to grab 24 of these. So it looks like it gives us half. Okay, so I kind of see how it works. 24 petrols will give you 12 refined oil, so you're getting half. Oh, okay. Alright. I see. See, you're -2, but you're getting +1. So it looks like it's always going to be the same. All right. So I think we're getting this down to the science. All right. So I'm going to let that do its thing. And I'll be right back. Hopefully we don't get disconnected. Oh, my God. Okay, so that's going to give us 24 refined oils, right? So we're going to put those refined oils over here, and we're going to grab 24 more of those again. Once again, guys, we're going to sit inside the truck just to be safe. All right, things are looking good. Things are working better. At least it's working this time. And this time we can actually base it off. We have $87 in cash, so I'm going to write a little 87 here. So we kind of know exactly how much we're going to be making once we're done with all this, once we're all said and done. I think trucking was about 3,700, so let's see how much this one is. Stop jumping around because you'll make the internet cut off. Stop it. 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 No, 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 no. Yeah, so we're gonna try this one, guys. See what's going on. Ay, 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 ay. Man, everybody's getting busted in jail. Look at that. Holy moly. Alright. We got a little bit more to go. Once it gives us that message that we can't do it anymore, guys, we're gonna hop out, which I think we're gonna do it now anyway, because I think it's almost done anyway. Yep, can't carry enough, so we're gonna go ahead and press the trunk button here. A little delay, but it's all good. Then we're gonna put some more of these out. All right, we're looking good. We're working hard today, guys. Busting our butt cheeks off. Let's get it, get it. Get it, get it. All right, so what else do we have going on here, guys? How's everybody been? Is everybody excited for their Thanksgiving, guys? Anybody got some amazing plans? Happy Turkey Day soon coming up, guys. I was doing the turkey thing, but maybe that's what caused my internet to go off. I don't know. Star said, I'm just gonna eat. Best plan. That is the best plan. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Now, here's the big question. Everybody always goes turkey and ham and pork roast and this and that. What's the best, guys? Turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Aw. That's a good one. I like that one. Oh, can't carry anymore. Oh, Jay's here. Well, is that who I think it is? Oh, nearby vehicle? What do you mean? Jay, you scared me, bro. I almost left. Alright, let's get that refined oil over here. Let's get this bad boy out. Yay, what's going on? Oh, gosh. How are you today? Everything all right there? Hold on, emotes. I need to get a chatting emote. How do I get like a... Alright, alright, alright. How are you today, fine sir? Fried turkey. Fried turkey sounds good. I don't seem to be able to apprehend what you're saying to me. I like your new ride, though. Where'd you get it? Hey, are you talking in game? I don't hear you in game, bro. Uh-oh. Oh no, that's not good, bro. We gotta fix it. Gotta fix it. Oh, unplug and replug. Remember last time? Yeah, seems to be the case sometimes, you know.
How about now?
Oh, yeah, nice and clear there, buddy. Let me go ahead and unload some of these really quick. All right, so we got the refined fuel. We're gonna move that over to the side. Let's get some more of these. Oh man. Did you call off today?
I turned the lights up.
What, did you call off for work today?
I just came into town today.
Oh, okay, okay. I see it. I see it. Oh, it's glad to have you back, man. I see you got a new set of wheels there.
Yeah, I had to have some.
Ah, I like it. How much did it go for?
It was 12,000.
12,000. Ooh, wee. You know how many Cluckin' Bell tacos you could have had with that?
Well, yeah, quite a.
Oh, man. Yeah, I had a truck malfunction on me earlier, so I had to call in for a backup, and this is the second truck they let me rent it today, and oh, let's say, what a day I had.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
Okay. Let's go ahead and load this up real quick in here. It's alright though. The oil seems to be pretty hot today. Looks like people are using gas every day.
I wish my headlights would turn off.
Oh. You know what? I heard there's a mechanic in town. Maybe they might be able to tweak the headlight switch or something. Oh gosh. I'm just glad it's actually working now, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, this thing is actually working. Oh wait, I think you almost had it. How about you hop inside, hit that light switch, and then try it on your remote. See if it helps any. Alright guys, let's go ahead and put this oil away. Alright, look at that engine. Did you hear that?
Yeah, my headlights don't turn.
Oh. Yeah, looks the lights look on to me. Oh, did you just check Twitter? They're selling fixed kits for $1,500. Look at that. Your local 24/7 want to charge you $3K. That's not a bad deal. That's like half off.
We'll get some of those.
Right? That's exactly what I'm saying. I think at my next stop, I'll call the mechanic, have them work on my truck while I can look at my truck. Oh, man. I think they forgot to do an oil change. Can you pull it out? Here. This reminds me of the sock and poppers. Blow them up. You put your hand inside, swing them around, and start a pillow fight. Sock and poppers.
Daddy?
Yeah.
Problem.
What's that?
There's one other problem.
Hold on. Alright, I think I'm almost done here, pretty much mixing the oil. I'm gonna have to go, or wait, actually I think I'm refining the oil, I'm sorry. I have to go mix the oil here shortly.
Headlights are broken.
Oh, you think they're broken? Oh gosh.
Let's go see the mechanic and see what they can fix.
I agree. Alright, looks like my oil here should be done by now, judging by my stopwatch here. Let me go ahead and load these up. Technically, if I wanted to do this correctly, I could go get some more oil and then refine some more and it'll give me a full load, but I think for now I'm just gonna go ahead and just get them mixed up. Alright. What are you about to do there? Yeah, but your headlights, yeah, they definitely need work done over there. I don't know what's going on with those. Can you do both? Yeah. make it quicker. Yeah, well, kind of. Like right now, I can actually go back here right now, grab some more, and come back. But I'm not even gonna worry about it because like I'm having the risk of my car crashing. All right, let me go ahead before my truck gets out of service here. I'm gonna take this over to the mixture refinery. Right. You know what? One thing I forgot to mention. What's your how much did the dealership say you can store-wise in your trunk? Like, what's your capacity back there, like size-wise?
I am.
Yeah. See, look at it. I'm doing half, 11.2. I could do so much more. Yeah. Is it open? Okay.
Should be open.
Yeah, it looks like you're holding about. Looks like you got a like a 10-inch trunk there, so that's not too bad. The truck here has 20-inch, so I guess I'm just thinking future-wise, like if we ever want to like do things, we can like store things in our, in our trunks, get our jobs done quicker, All right, I'm about to head out. Watch this, guys. Wait. Hold on 1 second. I almost forgot there, man. We've flown together in town together and never got each other's numbers. I'm gonna need your number there real quick if you don't mind.
I'll find it here in my phone.
Yep, ready whenever you are. Yeah.
Looks like my number is 111. Hello.
Hey there, so you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I'm gonna talk and drive here for a little bit. I figured we could stay on the phone with each other while we're driving. Yeah, how you doing, man? Don't forget to save my number. It should have popped up on your screen.
Anything.
All right, sounds good, man. Just don't get caught talking and driving, okay?
Yeah, I don't want to get pulled up.
That's a big ticket. All right, let's go to the next spot here, guys. The next spot's gonna be down here. Which this is where...
I can't time it.
Oh, wait, what is it doing to you? Oh man, my truck is looking pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do about my truck here, man. You wouldn't happen to have a vehicle kit on you, would you? You got a toolbox on you? Oh, I think he just hung up on me. I'm gonna call him again, guys, see what's going on here. Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's okay. My phone just was acting up.
Oh man, the service out here sucks out here in the Sonora Desert, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Ooh-wee. Yeah. Alright, yeah, so far I'm about to find out today if this job's worthwhile. If not, I'm just gonna fill out a new application, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna have to find me a gas station pretty soon.
Okay, we can do that. Are you right behind me? Did you find me? I'm actually on the Palomino Freeway right now.
I think I lost you.
Okay, I'll wait on the side of the freeway real quick with my hazards on so you can't miss me. Oh, he lost signal again. I'm headed to the store now. Just had to eat and wait. Oh, cool. Wicked. Sounds good, bro. Thank you so much. Hey, be careful. Be careful traveling out there. All right. Oh, wait, I lost him again. Yeah, we're getting bad signal up here, guys. What the heck is going on? Yo, what's up, Skull, bro? What's going on, bro? All right, I don't think I see you. Oh man, the signal keeps getting lost. What the heck is going on? Let me tell him we're gonna meet him at the gas station.
Wow, this service is bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. I'll meet you at the gas station that's real close to us. I'm on the Palomino Freeway gas station here near the gun store.
Okay.
Or near the ammunitions, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because driving is giving us low signal. No cash. Of course not. All right, did you find it?
I might have took the wrong turn.
Oh boy. That's not good.
I think I do have a gas can, but
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be the, you can't miss it. There's a lot of bright lights here. I don't think I should be talking and pumping gas. I think this is illegal. Oh man, if they went Google Play, that'd be not. I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did. I'm not 100% though.
gas can, so
Thank you, Andy. Right, okay. All right, well, where are you at right now? I might be able to just find you.
I see a sign that says Home of the Patriot. I'm not too far from that.
That's not a good. Where you at exactly, like on your map, on your GPS? I mean, are you on Palomino Freeway, Route 15?
I'm on the Grand Sonora to
Gotcha. All right, well, let's go ahead and head back to Los Santos. I'll go ahead and head south, and then we'll meet up.
Okay, where do you want to meet up at?
So I'm heading down south now towards LS. So right now I'm going to be 2 miles out pretty much. Probably be there in a few minutes. I'm going to go all the way down southern though, near the industrial area. Hope they do. I hope so too. I really hope they do too. Surprisingly, our phones are working good, man. Service towers must be good in this area. Andy, I really appreciate those. Thank you guys. Follow my tops.
Okay, I will head down south and try to find you.
Okay, sounds good there, Mr. Walker. Seems like I'm getting close to town right now. Yeah, I think you took a different highway. So right now... Oh yeah. Alright. Seems like I'm gonna be getting off here soon. Alright, looks like I'm heading into the I'm at South Los Santos now. Taking Route 20. I believe you're not lagging. Yay! Hey, Thomas, right? Thomas, what's up, bro? Dum 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 dum. You gotta be kidding me. You don't want to know the bearer of bad news. I think my truck's gonna break down. No. Come on, man. For real?
Oh, no, that's not good.
I'm so close. I might need another truck. This is truly messed up. This is bad, guys. I don't like this. Yeah, driving trucks is not worth it. The amount of headaches I gotta go through for this thing is ridiculous. There's so many hills in this game. I found out why I was lagging. It's because I didn't update the... Oh, really? Well, that's interesting. This is a bad spot to break down. Yeah, we're not looking too good here. Yeah, I'm getting full bars now. Thank gosh for this good batteries we have in these phones. I don't have to worry about a phone charge. I don't know what kind of carrier to get, how they figure this out, but this is nice. I know the other server guys, you gotta like charge your phone.
Battery life, but just signal.
Okay, all right, Wicked, sounds good, bro. I'm almost done here, guys. Like, I'm literally almost done here. Once I mix all this up, we're done, you know? What? With what? I'm busy. I don't have much time. I gotta get up and get ready to go to work. I gotta go to that one place soon. Give me a second. What happened?
I'm finding my Hot Wheels.
Your what?
My Hot Wheels.
Oh. Okay. Give me a second. All right. Right, Thomas? He has to take that. Oh my gosh, I don't think I'm gonna make it, guys. Right. All right. Okay, so now I'm down by the industrial right now.
Okay,
Actually, I can send you my coordinates. Hold on. Give me a second. Alright, so right now we're getting essence, guys. I can't. My car broke down. Oh, man. Okay, this is the real deal, guys. Oh yeah 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 yeah. All right, we almost got it. Did the truck just turn back on? What the heck? The car is on, so that's good. Put some gas on it. Well, it's not the gas. My oil or my fluid is burning. Look at my hood. It's burning, right? It's smoking. It's not looking too good for us, guys. Wicked Gaming, thank you so much and welcome to the Tricks Gaming Squad. It's nice to have you aboard. You already know what you need to do to check out your beautiful commands that you can do here, as well as mini games, all your additional benefits and perks and everything. If not, let us know. We'll go ahead and type those in chat for you. Oh my gosh, guys, new sub hype. Right? Did I even add a sub hype command yet? I think we did. Thank you so much, Wicked. Oh my gosh, guys. Look, we're at 10 subs right now, guys. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, there he is. Oh, man, I might be in trouble, man. Look at my engine. Look at my hood. Oh my god, look at that. Woo. I think they gave me a lemon.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh gosh, I'm almost done here, man. All I gotta do is one more stop. Hopefully I can make it back. We're not far, so that's good. It might be okay. Look at that, Wicked Gamer. You're doing great, bro. You're doing great.
Looks like they're having a daily special right now, too.
Oh, daily special. Nice. Let me check that out. I forgot how we checked to see what we got for our daily. Do you remember? What was it? What was the daily special?
Well, I think you had to type in something.
Yeah, I did that. I'm trying to see what the special was. Interesting. Oh, I think I see what it is. Okay. All right.
Looks like it was a pretty good special.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for filling up my glass cup, guys. We're looking awesome. Look at that already today. Wicked coming in with the cheers and the subscription. Shout out to Wicked Gaming, guys. What up? Wicked, I really appreciate your support, bro. I really do. Thank you so much. I really, really thank you for that. Let me put these away real quick. Put those over here. All right, we're almost done here.
Give you a wrecked truck.
Uh-huh.
I think they give you a wrecked truck.
Oh gosh, what the? What the? Oh no! Am I gonna be okay? Why is the truck on fire? Oh my god!
No, I don't
Come
know.
on, can you call the fire department? Wow, man. Okay, it looks like it looks like the cooling system kicked in. Wow. There you go, Wicked Gaming. Now you got it. See? It tells you your expiration and everything, so you know. Okay, it looks like...
First I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, that was scary. Oh my god, too bad I'm not a mechanic.
I think your truck died.
I think so too, and I just got done making the essence. Let me try it out, see what's going on here. Looks like I'm gonna be pushing this bad boy all the... You gotta be kidding me. No! The door system, the door locks won't work. Oh my god. Wow, come on. I can never finish this job. It's driving me nuts. Wait, now it's unlocked.
Anyway.
Oh my god, I can never do what I need to do, guys. Really? You mind doing me the biggest favor in the world?
Okay, good.
You think you can head up to the nearest store? I'll pay you the money when you get back, or can I just send you the funds? How can I do this? Hold on, let me see. It's like I got pretty much money that can be made in this truck, and I don't want to just leave it. Now it's gonna start lagging. No!
I can always pay for it. You can refund me.
Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say I'll just need your bank ID, whatever, and then I can send it to you. I think.
You're fired!
Hold on. Hold on.
Looks like it's 7589.
Daddy?
All right. Okay, you said it was what?
7589.
No, that's not it. That's just the bank showing the example. I think yours is going to be, hold on, let me try this. All right, see it that, did you get anything?
Yeah, I did come through.
Okay, perfect. Can you go get that for me?
Yeah, I can do it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it big time. I wish I can at least go inside. Can't get inside the truck. Dang it. Dude, stop. You're pushing my chair. Team deathmatch? No, we don't do that. I'm doing roleplay right now. Come on, guys. My truck! Man's booing. There you go, Wicked. You're getting it now, bro. Right there. Oh, gosh, so Jay's gonna go. Man, I ain't got much time, guys. Almost time for me to get off again. I never have time to play this game ever. I'm always in a rush. So let me see. About to pop it off here anyways. I'm just gonna end this real quick. Keep this one afloat. Ooh, there we go. Wow, of course, they're all kind of far away. We're not that far, so hopefully we get Jay to come back here soon, guys. I can't right now. All right, can you add me? Add me on what? What do you mean? Oh man. Hope I can get this fixed soon, guys. Fix it up while you mess it up. I know. What's all the mini games? It's gonna be right there. Oh, add me on Xbox? Yeah, I don't know if I have I don't know if I have it over here. Yeah, there's my gamer tag. And then also the where's my Xbox group? I don't remember. Hopefully Jay gets back here real soon, guys. I hope so. Let's find out real quick. Hopefully he's gonna be okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Everything okay?
Dude.
Yep. Everything okay? You able to hear me there, bro?
Right now, so,
Oh, okay, cool.
get some gas and I'm at the shop.
Sweet. All right. Just want to make sure you're all right. Just see when you get here.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. All right, guys. So we're just waiting on Jay. Jay's at the shop right now. He's on his way back here shortly. What are we gonna do, guys? Am I fake? What? Do I look fake? Wow. That's an insult. I'm heartbroken with that one. Your character's walking like a... Yeah. Well, especially with the phone, right? Alright, we got some emotes we can do here, guys. Cut that throat. My character's so upset right now, guys, with this. Oh, my truck. Right? Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. Thank you. No, you're cool. I know there's a lot of fakes on here. I don't blame you for doing what you're doing. You're good. You're good. Right, right. I know everybody's like taking clips of like other videos from different like YouTube and Twitch channels. Like, really? Why would you do that? Like, that's illegal. A lot, you know, this app doesn't care. So until they get sued for it, then they're gonna pursue matters, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I don't look at this chat. But this chat usually ain't popping that much, so I'm not really, it's not like my priority. Alright, hopefully Jay gets here soon, guys. Oh my god, we need to hurry up. The truck is broken down, I can't go anywhere. Jay should be here any minute, but once I turn this gas in, we are going to be good, guys. I'm so sad. Oh no. Like I'm weeping and crying, right? I got money on this truck, guys. I can't lose it. Oh, man. I know. But you know what, though? There's no exposure on here, so I can't really spread the word, you know. We need good broadcasters on here for real. Honestly, I agree. I totally agree. Everybody be doing like these boring streams. I'm not trying to judge their streaming content. I don't go against other creators, but some of them are not even here for creating. You know, they're just here just to post their gameplay, and it's like there's more to it than just that. Black Panther, what? Oh my god! Bring him in, bring him in, bring him in! Oh my god! Why does this happen to me? Yo, guys, follow my tops. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. Jay, whoa. Johnny, why does this happen to me? Alright, let's get this bad boy fixed. I don't know if I'm good with tools. Are you good?
I should be okay with it.
Alright, let's see what you got. Maybe your old man gave you some little tips here and there. Hurry up, right? You need to be an entertainer, period. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like earlier I had a turkey on the screen, but right now it's just me because my turkey was killing my processor. This game is taking a lot of CPU usage, you know? Oh, please, please let it fix. Oh, gosh.
What's happening?
What happened?
Yeah, I don't think it's doing anything.
Don't tell me. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. Seriously? It's, let me go ahead and, let me see the toolkit real quick. Let me see if my hands can do anything. Or let me step away. Oh no! You better, bro. You're doing a good job. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the compliments. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Wow.
Okay, I used it and it just disappeared.
Really? Wow. Oh my god. I'm done. Like, if I can't finish this job, I quit. I'll never do a job in this game and server again. Like, I'm not having this. This is unacceptable. No. Unacceptable. Oh my god, I gotta call a mechanic. The mechanic probably ain't gonna be active again, man. Ugh. Dang it. Alright, contact the mechanic shop, see if hopefully they can respond. Yeah. Yep, I think this is the last time I work for this company. Too many flaws. They don't have the state-of-the-art equipment here. My God. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, man, my muscle. Oh, dear jeez. Come on, man. Like, this is ridiculous, guys. Like, huh, seriously? Oh,
Okay.
this is baloney. No mechanic again? None of them are... Oh, God. None of them are at the shop. Dang it, guys. Okay, so trucks despawns. We lost all of our oil that we refined and mixed. Now my truck breaks down. I'm literally this close, and I can't go into my truck, and I can't access the trunk. I ordered a repair kit. It didn't work. I'm stuck. I quit. No, it's closed. I unlocked it, and I can't lock it or unlock it because it's like this truck don't exist anymore. Oh, now I can do it. All right, here, we're gonna do this. Oh wait, it looks like I just got a response. I was gonna say I was gonna store these in your trunk real quick and take these over to the company. Yo, Wicked, or wait, what?
If you need to, you can use my car for
It
that.
looks so different. It does, right? It looks very different. Absolutely. Hi, what's up? Okay, sweet. Mechanic said they're almost here on the way. Yay! All right, so it looks like I am access able. If we can, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and take these out of here. Let's put these in your trunk if you don't mind.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's grab the essence. That way we can do it. Are you able to access it? Like, is a trunk? Well, hello there.
Hello there. I'm guessing this one needs a repair, you know?
Yeah, you gotta love the company. They give us state-of-the-art, you know, trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the store up in Grove Street doesn't sell, I think they're selling bootleg, toolboxes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it seemed to, do much,
Fucking hell, that's let me get in.
Uh-oh, uh-oh. I'm so glad you guys are in town.
Yep, I'm the only one. Actually, it's too much. Can you unlock it? 'Cause it's let me get in.
Yeah, let me see if, my remote wasn't working earlier as well. That's a negative.
Let me try something. Alright.
Okay.
Fucking hell.
Let me give you some space here. Oh, wait. Okay, I think my remote just said unlocked. Let me try it again. Doesn't seem like it wants to... Like my unlock button's not working. I think it's stuck. Oh, boy. How do you do that game? What do you mean, Wicked? Yeah, Trix, you broke it. I broke it big time. Sounds like it's running. Wow. That was an epic fail. Oh my god, I think he got it.
There we go.
I feel so bad for giving you all these troubles.
I'm good.
Oh
Do you
man.
want to pay in cash or want me to bill you?
Let me check my wallet real quick. I might have to have you bill me.
Yeah.
I might have some in cash. How much we talking in cash?
1,300.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna throw you a little tip if you don't mind, because you really came for the rescue.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sometimes the vehicle is really broken down. You can't even get it. I don't know why.
Okay. Ah, yeah. Hopefully I'm seeing everything here okay. Do I need to flex anything or?
Flex your F2 muscle.
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought I was gonna get like a notification, you know, on my email or something. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, no.
All right, let me go ahead and hand that
thank
to
you very
you.
much.
Threw a couple extra there just for your troubles. I know this wasn't your quick stop as usual.
It's fun. But you have fun. I don't know if you're working. Doing
Yeah. I'm working, just gotta make a living.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have a good day. All right. Have some.
You too. Thank you, sir.
I'll see you around.
You too. All right, guys, let's hop in the truck. Let's get out of here. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and take this over to the deliver gas. Woo. All right, let's go. Oh my gosh, guys, my truck is working. It's working. It's working. Oh, it drives good too. Holy mackerel. It drives like a regular car. Thank you, Wicked. There you go, bro. There you go. Now you're getting it, man. Let's go turn these in. All right, so once we deliver this gas, guys, we are going to be good. Oh my gosh. So when we drive these trucks, we got to make sure we don't crash and make sure my internet's up on par. All right, let's go ahead and take this back real quick. Service getting better. Looks like they're getting some good players. See, that was nice, Jay. I like that. Mechanic came. You know, I've actually I'm having like a good experience. Honestly, it's professional. Like, you know, like. All right, let's turn it around here. Turn these in and make that money. Woo.
Looks like a brand new truck though.
Yeah, right? It really does. You hit yourself in the head? I saw that. You're alright, you're fine.
Howdy,
What?
Look where, bud.
Which minigame are you guys talking about? The one I was playing when you had to cut the wire. Oh, exclamation mark diffuse. It's in the it's on that VIP hub thingy, Wicked. Did you see it? So when you defuse, you got to choose a wire. Honestly, I guess the folks around town weren't lying about this being a good paying position, but just the headaches, you know?
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of hit.
Oh, man. Okay, guys, let's find out what we got here.
Yeah, last time I was in town, I tried the chicken job, and that was just not very good.
No, Wicked Gibby, you cut the wrong wire. Oh, you reminded me. Oh, wait. I'm speaking out of my head. I'm sorry. You guys reminded me. I gotta add a bug section on Discord. Whoopsie daisy. Let me do that right now. Alright, so for members to join, they're going to be able to read, send, and then read history. Okay, so we added a bug report channel for you guys. Let me look this up real quick. So we have 8447, 8447. We're gonna minus, we'll just say 1300. All right. So remember that one time we joined that one position that needed filled? Me and you went and did that lumberjacking for two fellas. We made about what, 3,700 that day. Well, it looks like this made me about 7,000 and something, you know. But like I said, just the headaches. But if you can get a smooth run, you make good money. You make maybe a good 20K a day or something.
The job I had just tried, the chicken job,
How was that?
I made like 3K, and I had ran out of gas in my truck, and I got stranded.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was bad.
Not good. Well, if anything, like I said, so far this is the money getter, so maybe we can try some this sometime. We'll do we'll trail on each other, help each other out.
Yeah, sounds like a good
This
idea.
looks like the best way to make the cash for now until we find a job we can get with our degrees here in this town. So far, it seems like nothing. The only thing available is factory work and all these low-end jobs for now, you know?
Yeah, I applied for this job, so hopefully I hear something soon.
7,000, wow. Oh yeah, definitely. Well, let me go turn this truck in and see what's going on here, man. Because I got to get out of town here shortly.
Okay, so.
I don't think we need to return them. They should just remove those. It's confusing people. All right, let's go ahead and take this truck back to where we need to go. And this truck is brand new too, guys. Oh man, what a day. Let's get out of our worker outfit here, guys. Back in our civilian clothes here. All right, we're looking good. Woo! Oh, what a day. I'm gonna go park this car real quick. Don't want to leave it out in these streets, you know.
Yeah, it's gonna need it there.
Yeah. Alright, so we added a bug report system here, guys. Look at the slots, look at the spittle bottle, look at the yay, look at the jingle. Woo, look at all those guys going now. Oh man, long day, man, long day. Alright. Alright, let me go turn this in real quick. I still remember the window you busted on, man. Look at that. You see that? You see that window, man? Look at that. Alright, I'll be right back. Hey, my door's locked. Lock it. All right, let's get. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and take this. I'm not even gonna go out that thing. Just turn it around here. You guys gonna play the lottery? Get that lottery in, guys. Go, go, go. Yee-hoo! Holy moly, what was that? Whoa! Lolly, it's Sage. You got anything for me, man?
Qué desmadre.
Yeah, well, you said something about my mother? What about my madre? What are you saying to me?
You're fired!
Oh man, you came to the rescue too, man. Sadly, that grocery shop, I'm gonna have to talk to the owner about that little bootleg toolkits they were selling there, you know? We actually needed a mechanic for that situation. Man, took my money, man. And I don't have the receipt, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh god.
I bought that thing and it was all dangerous. There was cars exploding around me and everything when I came into town.
Yeah, I totally agree. Oh man, my son's been playing that song, that Dame Tu Casita song. It's like stuck in my head, you know? It's driving me nuts.
I haven't been playing that song.
Oh yeah, I heard that song before. That thing would
Okay. Right, Thomas? You got it, bro. You got it, man. That's how we do it. Oh yeah.
Gotta celebrate the good times, man.
Gotta celebrate the good times. Ooh, did you guys get it? Did you get it? Now remember, you guys can also do this on Discord too, guys. TrickSpot runs on Discord. Not 100% of the time, but a majority of the time, which is all good. All right, guys, this is it. I'm concluding it. We got to go. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for hanging out, and thank you for dealing with me. And I'm sorry about the trucking run we had, but luckily we made the money. We're good. I just hope that things even work out later on for the best, guys. So let's just hope for the best on that part, guys. So until then, I'll catch you guys in the next broadcast. Thank you so much, Wicked Gaming, coming in today, showing all the love and support here for our channel. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next broadcast. See you guys. Bye-bye. That's how you do it, Wicked. You're making use of those commands, guys. Those commands can be very good, but also be very bad. You guys can get a lot of coins here. You just gotta know how to do it. But I'll see you guys later in the next one. Thank you so much, guys.